Welcome to the Life's Best Medicine podcast, where we are finding hope and healing one episode at a time. No appointment needed, no rubber gloves, and no coping. Just a healthy dose of life lessons to help equip you for this wild journey we call life. Hey everyone, this is a friendly reminder that we are here for entertainment purposes only. We may not even be that entertaining at times, but this is not medical advice. Talk to your doctor, check with your healthcare professionals before making any lifestyle changes or medicine changes. What we're talking about is our clinical experience and what we've seen. And so if you really want our advice, you can consult us. You can actually consult me as a doctor, or you can consult my guest and get all your questions answered. But we can't give free medical advice because we can't pay our bills with that, but we can help to educate you a bit and allow you to think a little bit. And always reach out to your medical professional before making any lifestyle changes. Thank you. Hey everyone, believe it or not, we are in November. Holy cow. It seems like this happens every year, and every year it just sneaks up on us. So this is the landmine time. This is where we try to just, maintain, not to go out of control. Thanksgiving, Christmas, all these things are coming up in the near future, family visiting and vacations and all that kind of stuff. So now's the time to really, really watch it. Use tools if you need to, like Health Code, who sponsors this podcast. They have great recipes online for pumpkin spice and all kinds of things. You can make pudding or ice cream or things like that, because when everyone else is having their sweets, like it's really hard to stay strong. So look at those things. Go check out all their recipes. Health Code, get health, GETHLTH.com. We have a discount code with them, MedHealth, METHEALTH, for metabolic health. It's really important right now during the holidays as you enjoy family. Don't make it all about the food. Make it around the family and your connections, friends, spending time, all the important stuff. So allow them to help you with some tools. Also use your Keto Mojo, being able to track your ketones, see if you're staying on track your sugars, which are really important this time of year. And so I just want to thank them both, keto-mojo.com, for another year of sponsorship and keeping this podcast going. Also, I'll give a plug for myself, Arizona Metabolic Health, ArizonaMetabolicHealth.com. We can help you. We're doing consults. We're doing, short-term follow-up or follow-up forever. But I'm doing all online, so if you want to talk and get your metabolic health squared away, laboratories, things like that, please reach out to us at ArizonaMetabolicHealth.com. And thank you again for listening. And, stay the course during the holidays. You got this. Keep fighting on and stay well. Hello and welcome back to the Life's Best Medicine podcast. Today I just this will be quick, I promise. I won't be rambling on for an hour, I promise. So you could just do a quick listen. But this is just a spontaneous episode that I wanted to record. Over the last 3 years, it's been so hard for a lot of us, and Thanksgiving just passed. And, I had an experience that I just wanted to share with people that I thought was pretty cool and amazing. And even before that, a couple of days before Thanksgiving, I posted something and said, hey, I'm just curious, for those of you who have been alienated from your family or alienated your family based on your political views or vax views or COVID stance or whatever, it was a scary time for a lot of people. And I said, what's happened since then? And it was amazing, the outpouring of everyone who responded. Some families are totally decimated. They just don't want anything to do with each other. No one's going to forgive each other. And others have just kind of moved on, and there's an elephant in the room. They invited them again and never said a word about what happened 2 years ago or last year. Other families drew closer. Other families like mine, no one really excommunicated anyone. So everyone was kind of on the same page. But I just realized how divided we are. And as people, if we divide our families and friends and don't talk to people anymore, and we can't discuss things that may be uncomfortable sometimes, it really shows in our society. And we're seeing a lot more violence, a lot more separation, people not liking each other because of their religion or their race or their color or their sexual preference and all these kind of things. And it's amazing how quickly we could divide each other and dehumanize each other. And on the heels of that, I was thinking, gosh, it's so sad. And I was also thinking how fortunate I am to have a family who, kind of, even if we disagree on certain things, that we love each other and we care about each other. I have friends with totally different political, religious views than myself. And it's great to sit down and say, why do you have your perspective? And that's part of the reason I did this podcast, so we could discuss our differences. In medicine over the last 3 years, it's been appalling that we just couldn't express our views, saying, hey, here's what's working for me, what's working for you, and kind of compare notes to really help patients to do better. And so I've just really have seen that division. And on the heels of that, we had a small Thanksgiving at home, little brunch with my kids, and they go off to their in-laws and their boyfriends, houses and all that kind of stuff in the afternoon. And we had to spend time with Carlos Merlot, who you guys know from the podcast, who's a good friend of mine, and Nora and his family. And we were welcomed in and just had a really great time, and really enjoyed ourselves. And then the next day we went up to Orange County from San Diego to visit my parents and my brothers, and their families and all that. And we stopped by my mom's place, and this is what I wanted to share with you, because I realized when I walked in the doors, she lives in a senior living, independent living senior um, city town there called Laguna Woods. Anyways, walking in the doors, I remember looking at my wife and saying, wow, we can just walk in. Last year we had to have like our temperature checked. We had to go through all kinds of stuff to get in the building, and everyone was divided. No one was down enjoying each other's company. And this year when we walked in, we saw the seniors enjoying each other and talking and having a good time. Anyways, we went up to my mom's place, and we were talking, and all of a sudden there was a knock at the door, and it was one of her friends from down, on the same floor as her. And she came over, and the lady was kind of talking a little bit funny. And my mom said, oh, she's deaf, just so you guys know, she can't understand what you're saying at all. And during this and she brought over something for my mom, like a treat or just to check on her. um and to see their connection was amazing, like to see this. And just to think a year or two ago they couldn't even talk to each other, they couldn't see each other's face, they couldn't smile at each other. And the lady came over, and she was so sweet. And it was hard because I don't know sign language, and I was trying to communicate with her, as best I could. And all of a sudden my wife busts out with sign language. And I had to remember that she knew it before, but I thought, how amazing. And to see her bond with this lady so quickly, even, and it was funny because my Spanish is broken, and sometimes I use the wrong word. I select the wrong, uh, I say dog instead of cat, or spoon instead of knife, or something like that, because it's just not natural to me. And it was my wife was communicating with her, and they were laughing, having a great time, because every once in a while my wife would want to say, you're a good friend, and she would say, you're good milk. And then they said, what do you mean milk? Like, and then she goes, what does that mean? And then so they were going back and forth. But then my wife got more um, used to the sign language that she hasn't used for 30 years or something like that. But it all came back to her. And we were laughing because it was so funny, because she says some of the stuff I said was so silly. But to see that connection and that bond, and this lady just being able to love other people and hug us and make that connection so quickly. I think how many people over the last few years were just, uh, on their own, sitting there on Thanksgiving, sitting there on Christmas, as seniors, especially, it was so devastating. And when I talked to people to hear their stories, it was so tragic, and to see how happy they are. And I think part of it is when we go through those hard times, we appreciate the good times that much more. And you enjoy seeing people's facial expressions, or that human connection, that human bonding. And sometimes when I get down thinking about how divided we are, I remember everywhere I've been in the world that I've met the kindest, most decent people. And they obviously, we have different cultures, different heritages, different beliefs, maybe, but just to see human kindness. So I would challenge you over this holiday season just to reach out and try to find that. Reach out to people who are hurting or struggling, or maybe your brother-in-law who was a jerk 2 years ago, or they voted for the wrong person, which who knows who the right person, the wrong person is. But but I think if we can get past that and not divide ourselves and say, oh, he's this, she's that, and really understand that we're all humans and we all have our shortcomings. We all have used poor judgment, and a lot of people, I'm telling you, there was such a fear at the beginning of COVID. It was such a fear that people were afraid. and all they could do is rely on their government and the CDC and the FDA and all these people to reassure them. And I think a lot of people are disappointed when they look back. You know, they're disappointed in themselves, in their humanity, but also disappointed that they believed information that wasn't correct, or that might have been exaggerated. And I think really we have to really be able to have these kind of discussions, discuss that we have different views and say, okay, that's your point of view. Here's mine based on these facts, and here's your facts, and that we can have a reasonable discussion about these things. So, I think during these holidays, I think if you can reach out to people who might be different than you, people who may be a challenge, people who may, we call them EGR, extra grace required to deal with them, people who may be challenging. A lot of those people are so hurting. And, and just talking to people, some of the recent podcasts we've had with, hearing family dynamics, but then when you look back to see how they were raised and how they were raised and how their great grandparents are raised, and you see there's these generational problems that just kind of keep rearing their heads. So I would say during these holidays, just try to reach out to people, try to connect. And if you've been fearful or isolated, try to reach out, because it's so important. This is, as a doctor, I'll tell you, this is the most devastating time of the year for a lot of people, because they're looking at everyone else with family and friends and realizing that they may be lacking. They may realize that they didn't live their lives in the way that they should have, or they may have said the wrong thing. So there's never it's never too late for reconciliation, grace, kindness, apologizing for being a jerk, whatever it is. I think a lot of us are not good, and pride keeps us from being generous, kind people that we are. So hopefully this rings a bell. But I think, just looking back, we can't make these mistakes again. We can't lock down our seniors for their own good when it really devastated a lot of people. And the more I sit around and talk to seniors, it's really, really devastating at how lonely and sad they were. Um, Sometimes you have to look at the risk and the benefit and really assess that. And I think living it up to the individual to say, hey, I respect you for your beliefs. I was out last night, as a matter of fact, and a guy was wearing a hat that says, uh, "You stay safe, and I'll stay free." Meaning, I get it. Some people want to be safe, and some people want to be free, and we have to find a common ground in between. Showing respect for people who are maybe fearful or have poor health that make certain decisions. And also respecting people who say, hey, I've looked at the risk and the benefit, and I've decided to go this path. So I think, we could all justify our views and what we've done in the past. And so I think sometimes just saying, hey, I blew it. I should have handled that differently. And that's the hardest thing for me and for all of us to do. So sometimes being humble and saying, yeah, I kind of handled that wrong, or I raised my voice when I shouldn't have, and I shouldn't have got upset about whatever 2 years ago, and kind of get amends. So I promise I wouldn't ramble on for too long, but I just wanted to bring this up. But seeing my wife like that was just so amazing to see her communicate. And I think how important it is. And also I would say, if you are interested in learning another language, you don't have to be perfect at it. Just making an attempt. People love that, and that causes a connection and a bond. So don't be afraid if you've studied a certain language and you're afraid to talk. Go out and just do it. Have fun. People will laugh, and you'll connect. When you say the wrong word, they'll correct you and help you, and then you'll know it next time. And hopefully, I'll practice my Spanish a little better this year for Guatemala coming up. Um, so, anyways, have a great holiday season. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. Reach out to those people that maybe you haven't talked to in a little while, and that can make a huge difference. If you want to volunteer at senior, where seniors are, and help them out, and listen to them and hear their stories, you'll be blown away by the wisdom that our seniors have. And just thank you for listening to this podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I just pray that you're blessed and that you enjoy your time. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and thank you for listening. Shoot, there's a story I forgot to tell you, so I'm just going to add this on as a quick addendum at the end. With sign language, I was volunteering, and I was in Guatemala, and this good-looking kid was there. His mom brought him in, and I was trying to talk to him in Spanish, my broken Spanish, and he wasn't responding to me at all. He was just staring at me, and I looked at his mom, and she said, "He's not going to talk to you." And I said, really, why won't he talk to me? Is because I'm a doctor and he's afraid. And she said, no, it's because he's deaf and he can't communicate. And I was thinking, oh my gosh. And this came back to my mind when I saw my wife doing sign language like that. Imagine this kid's 12 years old. He's in a poor community and they don't know about sign language. He cannot communicate with anyone. He's going through life because of his disability that he's not going to be able to ever communicate. He might be the brightest kid on earth and he can't communicate. So we were able to bring in some people who can teach him sign language, and just think about that. Think about how fortunate we are too that we can communicate, that we can talk to each other. And so hopefully we could use those skills to help other people and to uplift them. And also I just want to do a quick since we're in the Thanksgiving season, I just want to give a big thanks to my sponsors of this podcast who make all these stories possible. Keto Mojo, who is now, I understand, you can use your health savings account, and that's a write-off for that. You can use it for Keto Mojo. So don't let your money go to waste at the end of the year. And also Health Code, great people, HLTH Code, Ben Bickman, and the Bickmans, great people. They've been huge advocates for helping seniors and for helping people in the community. They're great people. So please support their products over the holidays and take care of yourself and take care of each other. Shoot, there's a story I forgot to tell you. So I'm just going to add this on as a quick addendum at the end. With sign language, I was volunteering and I was in Guatemala, and this good-looking kid was there. His mom brought him in, and I was trying to talk to him in Spanish, my broken Spanish, and he wasn't responding to me at all. He was just staring at me, and I looked at his mom, and she said, "He's not going to talk to you." And I said, "Really? Why won't he talk to me? Is because I'm a doctor and he's afraid?" And she said, "No, it's because he's deaf and he can't communicate." And I was thinking, oh my gosh. This came back to my mind when I saw my wife doing sign language like that. Imagine this kid's 12 years old. He's in a poor community and they don't know about sign language. He cannot communicate with anyone. He's going through life because of his disability that he's not going to be able to ever communicate. He might be the brightest kid on earth and he can't communicate. So we were able to bring in some people who can teach him sign language, and just think about that. Think about how fortunate we are too that we can communicate, that we can talk to each other. And so hopefully we could use those skills to help other people and to uplift them. And also I just want to do a quick since we're in the Thanksgiving season, I just want to give a big thanks to my sponsors of this podcast who make all these stories possible. Keto Mojo, who is now, I understand, you can use your health savings account, and that's a write-off for that. You can use it for Keto Mojo. So don't let your money go to waste at the end of the year. And also Health Code, great people, HLTH Code, Ben Bickman, and the Bickmans, great people. They've been huge advocates for helping seniors and for helping people in the community. They're great people. So please support their products over the holidays and take care of yourself and take care of each other. Blessings. Thank you for listening to this episode. We greatly appreciate your support. We would greatly appreciate a positive thumbs up on all of the platforms like iTunes and Spotify or wherever you're listening. And we just thank you for our Patreon supporters. We greatly appreciate your help in getting this message out. We think there's a lot of important information. And hopefully this helps you. Have a great day, and thank you for listening, and thank you for your support.